Out here beyond the stars, there are things that don't belong, ancient, terrifying forces that lurk in the dark, waiting for you to look too long. Tonight, listen carefully. You might hear something you shouldn't. The Maw. They say there's a place in space where light goes to die, a starless void that swallows everything. Pilots call it the Maw. Most think it's just a story until they hear the recordings, a garbled transmission, barely audible. It's hungry. It's calling us. The ship it came from? Found drifting. Empty. The crew? Gone. All except one pilot, dead in her seat, her face frozen in terror. Scrawled in blood across the walls, "Don't look at its mouth." They say it's a humanoid figure with black, liquid-like skin that reflects faint starlight, as if it's alive. Its face has no features, just a massive yawning mouth full of glowing teeth. From it drifts a mist of luminous particles, whispering, beckoning you closer. Orbiting the creature are shattered planets, spiraling inward until they crumble into nothing. Behind it stretches an infinite void, starless, silent, and alive. If the stars around you start to vanish, don't look. Don't listen to the whispers, and whatever you do, don't go toward it, because once you see its mouth, you're already gone. I used to think space was beautiful, a sea of stars, endless and full of wonder. The soundless depths, the cold vacuum of it all, it was peaceful. I thought I understood the void. I was wrong. It was my last mission. My crew and I had been assigned to survey an uncharted sector beyond the Oort cloud, a place where no ship had ever gone. We were supposed to be mapping out new resource fields, collecting data. A simple job, or so we thought. But then we found it. It started small, just a faint anomaly on our sensors. At first I thought it was a mistake, maybe some stray debris or a minor glitch in the equipment. But the longer we watched, the more I realized the truth. It wasn't a glitch. It wasn't debris. It was a thing. The object, or whatever it was, had no shape I could describe. It was as if the very fabric of space had been torn open, and through that rip, something had crawled out. A darkness, a void so deep that it bent the light around it. It was there, on the edge of the system, but it wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to exist. I remember the captain, Harris, shouting at the crew, trying to make sense of it. "We need to get out of here," he said. "This isn't natural. No ship's been this far out ever. We have no idea what we're dealing with." The first signs of trouble came that night. The ship's sensors started failing. Our comms flickered and died. A steady hum turned into a deep, low growl from somewhere beneath the ship, like something was hungry. At first, we thought it was just a power surge. But when the shaking began, we knew something was wrong. The whole ship vibrated, the walls groaning as if the metal itself was being torn apart. I could hear my crewmates shouting from across the halls, panic setting in, but we couldn't do anything. There was nowhere to hide, no escape. I ran to the bridge, but it was too late. Harris was gone. The rest of the crew had abandoned their posts, scattered like rats fleeing from a burning building. And then I saw it. Through the viewing ports. A massive, gaping mouth filled with darkness. It wasn't like any creature I'd ever seen. Its edges weren't sharp, but smooth, as if the void itself had opened up. There were no eyes, just the hungry, empty maw of space. It was closing in on us, moving closer with an unnatural, silent speed, as if it had been following us the whole time. I don't know how it found us. Maybe it had been there all along, waiting, but once it had its sights on us, there was no escape. I could see it, even in the dark. The edges of the mouth, if you could even call it that, seemed to pulse, as if it were breathing. The closer it got, the more I could feel the pressure, like the ship itself was being sucked in, as if we were nothing more than a snack for this thing. We were trapped. My heart raced, and my breath became shallow as the walls around me started to bend. The Raven, our ship, screeched in protest. The air felt heavier, thick with something I couldn't explain. I felt a pressure on my chest, an almost physical weight, as if the very space around me was pushing down on me. And then I heard it, a low, bone-chilling sound that seemed to come from the walls themselves. A hum, a song, a noise that made my teeth ache. The monster. It didn't just consume physical things, it consumed everything. It devoured our thoughts, our sanity. The closer it got, the more I could feel my mind slipping. My crew had started acting strange, speaking in broken, half-mad sentences, their eyes wild. Some had tried to break the control panels, others screamed about the darkness, about its voice. But there was nothing I could do. We were falling into it. It was coming for us, and there was no fight left. I tried to get to an escape pod, but the passageways were blocked. The ship was shaking violently now, the walls groaning like they were being stretched and pulled apart. My legs felt weak, and I could taste metal in the back of my throat. I stumbled to a window. The Raven, my home for years, was already partially inside its jaws. I could see the vacuum of space spilling through the cracks, and beyond that, the endless blackness of the creature's mouth. It was devouring us piece by piece. I'm not sure how much time passed. The ship was falling apart, disintegrating into the nothingness that had consumed it. My mind was slipping, thoughts fading, the weight of the silence pressing harder. I don't even know why I'm still here, writing this. Maybe it's a warning. Maybe it's just the last of me, clinging to the fragments of sanity, trying to hold on to something that makes sense. But I don't think I'll make it out. The darkness is closer now. It's waiting. It doesn't need to hurry. It doesn't need to chase. It just consumes everything. And eventually, it will find you too.